on the time right now, and what I'd like to do is introduce somebody who I just recently met. Neela Micha was supposed to be here for the event, but she had a personal matter that she had to attend, and she gave me somebody who I think we are going to have a great relationship moving forward. We spoke the first time we spoke for like over an hour, and it was just dynamite. So I'd like to introduce Beth Allen. Where are you, Beth? Say hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, there you are.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay.
All
Very
right.
good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, so happy to have you. Thank you so much. So,
Well, I wanted to, I loved Colette's thing about the laundry. I have a 16-year-old who I started making him do his own laundry a year ago, and it's awesome. We don't do his laundry. And my husband finished his MBA about 4 years ago and came to me and said, "What chore do you want me to take over around the house?" And I said, "Laundry." So I have not done a load of laundry in 4 years, folks, and I'm telling you, it's
wow.
awesome. I'm very spoiled that
He
way.
got an MBA in teaching himself how to make his wife happy. He came to you right after and
Yes,
said, "What chore can I do?" It's a good man. I like him. You
absolutely.
know what?
You got an A plus because I don't have
Let's
to do
give
laundry.
him a round of applause.
It's awesome.
All right. So,
But go ahead. What questions do you have for me, Adam?
I was going to say jump right in. I mean, we had a great conversation. Like I said, we spoke for over an hour the other morning, and you were giving me a lot of things to think about, a lot of insight on the topics that you're touching. I don't want to spoil them, so you can just
Sure.
jump right in and do your magic, Beth. Go.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, my business is Hip Chicks. It's Home Improvement Project Chicks. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the DIY angle of home projects, gardening. Spring is here. It's time to get ourselves together. So one of the things that I recently learned the hard way from doing my own massive bathroom renovation was that you need to take the step back and really be organized when you're approaching these home renovation projects because they can get out of hand real quickly. And before you know it, you can't find the tools, you can't find the rags, you can't clean up, and who does the vacuum hose and all that stuff. So I have some tips on how to tackle those home renovation projects, whether small scale, big scale, indoor, outdoor, just so that you can keep organized, you can keep calm, you end up not fighting with your DIY buddy, whether it's a spouse or a friend, and how to keep it clean and on time because it's all time and money when you're dealing with projects like that. So one of the first things I want to tell people is to create a staging area so that for us, we were working on our master bathroom, so we used a corner of the master bedroom to kind of create that workspace. So we hit BJ's and Costco, whichever store you use, and got some cardboard boxes or milk crates or whatever it is you have around that you can use to store like tools. So we kept all of the hand tools and just the regular screwdrivers, hammer, little things area. Then in another bucket, we had the plumbing tools. So I had, the pipe wrench and the pipe tape and soldering equipment and did the same for electric, for drywall, sandpaper, spackle, so that when you need something, it's right outside your workspace and it was kind of laid all around the room. Now, the first of the project, we didn't do any of that and it was total chaos. But after fighting, because I lay things anywhere, and my husband is very anal, like you said, and organized, we decided we needed the buckets. We needed the boxes to keep everything together. So we did a little bit. We also made it a point to get the staging equipment, the safety equipment, sorry, together so that we had it all in one spot. Another thing that we did was to oops, sorry, phone calls coming in, is to make sure we had the safety equipment in place ahead of time. We made sure that it was there and it was what we needed. If you're sanding, make sure you have the dust mask. Make sure you have the a fire extinguisher. I was doing
I
soldering for
was
the
just
very
going to
first
say,
time.
you're talking about soldering. Fire extinguisher is always a good idea.
My first attempt at soldering, and I did pretty well. But make sure I had the fire extinguisher there.
You didn't have to use it, did you?
Little, what?
You didn't have to use the fire extinguisher, did you, on your
I
first
did not
attempt?
have to use it. I
Very
did
good.
not. It was all prepped. I went through the whole ABC procedure with my kids, and they were there to help if necessary.
Right.
Um, but just make sure you have that safety stuff. Another key thing, which my husband was really on top of, and I'm glad he was the daily cleanup. Was
Hmm.
at the end of every workday, we took that 5 minutes to go through and get the dustpan and brush, sweep up, vacuum, wipe down surfaces, and put everything back in its spot so that the next day we woke up, it was fresh, we could begin with a fresh plate. Where are we starting today? What piece are we working on? So that was very helpful. One of my friends is a pro organizer, and she gave me this fantastic tip of using laundry baskets. Like Colette said, you can never have enough laundry baskets.
Right.
And at the end of the day, or at the end of a couple days of work, we would take the laundry basket from the bedroom and fill it with all of the stuff that we were done using in the work area, and then take it back to the basement or the garage and start putting things back. So that was really great for us to stay on top of things. And the laundry basket tip she also said was to carry it around the house and throw all the junk from the rooms that it doesn't belong in into the basket. And then as you move from room to room, you put everything back. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, I love that. So we've been trying to
Hmm.
do that around here for every day, not just for project work.
Right.
Um, Another great tip for any project is to have a receipt box. Because I don't know about anybody else, but in the middle of a project, you're making 12,000 runs to Home Depot and you've got all these receipts. And at the end of the project, like, well, I didn't use this and I didn't use that. You want to have a place where you keep all the project receipts together so you can put them right back in your wallet, take all your stuff back, and get your money back.
Right.
So it's a way to save time and effort and also save you money because you're making your returns. And another key organizing thing with projects is to have duplicate tools. If you have two of you working even in the garden or out, building something, you want to have two hammers, you want to have two hand shovels, you want to have two, those dandelion diggers with the little prongs like a snake
Yep.
tooth, have two of those guys handy. Maybe the kids walk up and they're like, oh, let me help. You can hand them a tool. This way they're busy
Right.
helping, but yeah, you're still actually getting the work done.
Yeah, nice.
Because you know that the kids want
Oh,
to
a
help and
hundred
then take the
percent.
tool, and you're
Right.
paralyzed watching them like, okay, get bored already so I
Yeah,
can
then you're
take
like,
the
okay,
tool.
that's good. Give it back, right?
Exactly.
Hmm.
You don't want to deter that energy, but you want to get it done.
Right.
So duplicate tools are really helpful when you're getting things done around the house. Um, let's move outside though.
Okay.
I'm an avid gardener. I have a lot of beds around my house. I have a koi pond, and I love to be outside. But it's a huge project come April and May. The beautiful weather's here, but you got to clean up your yard. Now, some people will call the landscaper guy, come take care of everything for them. But if you're going to do it yourself, let's talk about how to get organized on that aspect. It might be time for you to go in the garage and assess your equipment. Are things rusted and beyond repair? Maybe you need new gloves. You need a new knee pad so that you can sit down on. You want a new weed bucket or, where you're going to keep your junk before you dump it into those paper recycling bags. So assess your tools, what you need to replace, maybe what needs to be repaired. If you've got old rusted tools that are still in working order but they're a little scummy, you want to just wash them with soap and water, get the mud and the dirt off. Then you can clean them with CLR, that calcium lime and rust remover, and sit them in a bucket of that for 2 hours and then scrub some of the rust off and they'll polish up nice. And a trick to store some of those metal tools is to get a bucket or a container that you can close with sand. And you can store them right, tool side down into the sand, and it'll help keep the rust and any other issues from coming up.
Really?
Yeah, it's a nice way to keep control over those tools for the winter too. It's a great way to store them so that they won't get yucky over the winter.
Oh,
So for a few bucks, you can buy a big bag of sand and put it into like a Rubbermaid container that seals and keep everything in there. So
right. Well,
I
I'm
love
writing
that.
that down. I'm writing that down. I never, not that I have a lot of tools. We have like six tools, and we have like this tiny little thing. But the kids use them, and they were even using them in some of the snow. They were gardening the snow one day
Oh,
when they
sure.
were out
Yeah,
playing.
sculpt,
But
right?
yeah, but so a little bug. That's it. That's interesting.
Yeah. And then even if you did get them wet, the sand will help dry and suck up some of the moisture so you can, put them in there. But it's
Yeah.
always better to make sure your tools have been rinsed off and dried before you store them, just to reduce any rust.
Sure.
Um, and if you are hiring someone to come and do some of that yard prep for you, you want to make it a point to get your estimates early. It's April, before you know it, graduations, communions, showers for babies and weddings. People want their yard to look nice. So get on the phone now, ask your friends for referrals or call the guy you used last year and get them on the books so that you can get the yard cleaned up. And order your mulch. You want to, shop around, check your local mailers. A lot of places offer discounts on mulch based on the, number of scoops you order and all that stuff.
Right.
So think about getting all of that stuff done ahead of time so that when you're ready to actually do it, it's there and you can move forward.
Yeah.
Another great thing about the yard, just like you have the laundry basket for working around the house, you want to make sure that you have your garden basket or a bucket or even a box, whatever works for you, and keep all of your stuff in it as you're tending through the yard so that you're not running back to the garage or the shed to go and get your stuff.
Right.
So I like to throw my gloves and, the dandelion digger and the pruners and all that into a nice sturdy bucket so I can just tote it around with me and have everything at my fingertips.
Right, right. I really like that idea of the laundry basket. Before I was an organizer, I was a home builder, and like it used to drive me crazy because like every job that I ever worked on, I ran on. Whenever I was working on stuff, and I worked on a lot of stuff, I would make sure that at the end of the day, tools were put away, garbage was picked up, because I like to walk into a job site clean so I can reassess everything in the morning, put my game plan on, and if you have altercations, everything is cleaned up. You can maneuver yourself. It's the same thing when I did home projects. And it just would drive me crazy when contractors, the sheetrockers, the electricians, they leave their stuff laying around the job. And I never actually thought about the laundry basket idea, even in my own home renovation. But it's great because I've walked around with Home Depot buckets or Lowe's buckets for, I don't want to not count any of the big discount stores, but I walk around with these buckets and I pile all my tools in, and it's really hard to get the tools out because like the drill, like with the wire or the sawzall, it'll get stuck and entangled with the other tools. And just as you say, laundry basket, like I see it all laid out, giving myself more space. I just see it saving, minutes on top of minutes, job on top of job, and basically like a lifetime when you're done. It's a great suggestion.
Those big 5-gallon buckets are awesome, but you've got a small spot at the bottom where all the junk falls.
Yeah.
It's like a woman digging through the bottom of her purse trying to find anything.
Yeah, and if you drop a drill bit down there, forget it,
Oh,
So, but I really like that. That's great. So, you know what? I'll put all my tools in a laundry basket in my newly redesigned laundry room. Based on Colette's suggestions, it'll be awesome. So that's great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it makes.
What, Adam?
I was going to say it all makes sense. Keep the prep area, clean it up, have good assortment space for your tools, and move in the receipt box also. I mean, it's hit or miss with me with returning on the Home Depot. I have some stuff from two years ago that is still in the packaging where I never got to the Home Depot where I couldn't find the receipt. And then, sometimes on a new project, I go back and, it's nice to have, actually, I got to give them a compliment. It's nice to have a store where they take things back when you don't use them without giving you a hard time. Because that always happens. You're always buying a little bit extra because you don't know exactly what you need, and they're so accommodating over there. So thumbs up to the Home Depot.
Yep, absolutely. That's my favorite store. But
all right.
I also wanted to share a quick little DIY trick for you guys.
Okay, go for it.
In springtime, like Anne was saying, it's nice to put new stuff up on the walls. It's get a new perspective, change the artwork, change the family photos, and bring it up to date. So when you're tackling something like that, it can be a little daunting. I know I enjoy like the wall collage where you've got everybody's pictures and different frames and all that. So as a designer, I'm going to give you one tip. Make sure the frames are all cohesive. They don't have to all be the exact same frames, but like colors or like styles, it really creates a more designer look when you tackle that collage on the wall. But I wanted to show you a little trick on how to do a collage on the wall when you've got a big project and you don't want to make holes. What I like to do is I hope you can see this well.
Sure.
I use sticky notes here just to give you an idea of how to do it. But if you're doing this on a real wall, I get a roll of craft paper. and I cut out the craft paper in the sizes of the frames that I'm going to put on the wall.
Right.
And then I use painter's tape. And you can arrange the entire wall in the pattern that you want it, with every frame having its spot, and then you use the level and you make sure everything's symmetrical and level and balanced and all that good stuff. Or it can be random if you don't like rules and symmetry. And then you can hold each frame up to the wall, determine the hook on the back, the placement, and then put the nail right through the paper, then
Right.
take the paper off and just hang everything up.
Ah, so that's good. So you take the craft paper, you lay out the craft paper, you put the picture on top of the craft paper, give like a rough but decent cut around so you're close to actual size, and then just tape those up on the wall, rearrange them, and you're not
Yep,
driving yourself nuts, nor are you spackling 800 holes in the wall when you're done with the
exactly.
project. All right,
Exactly.
I like it. All right, great tip to end it off there. So, Beth, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
I was really excited to have you, and thanks for helping out and doing a favor, and just great to meet you. And I'm glad that Neelam got a chance to put us together.
Oh,
So,
so
thanks for
am I.
being over
Thank you
here. And
guys.
of course, like we said for before, everybody that we have on the panel is going to have a PDF and a link to
Yep.
their site. You can get to everybody's website, or at least their Google Plus page right now. All the pictures on bringtheneat.com are linked to everybody's Google Plus page.
Rapid, the world's greatest gift wrap organizer. www.rapidgiftbag.com